Hey beauties, welcome back to Real Girl Talk Podcast Radio. I am your host, Sherry Ricard. I'm a medical professional, business leader, author, speaker, and adversity recovery expert, bringing you fascinating guests, business, beauty, and lifestyle tips to help you create a beautiful life, and always committed to keeping it real. Now let's dive in. Today's episode is brought to you by Create Your Life, a 30-day devotional and lifestyle workbook for women who want to live an intentional life, equipped, empowered, and anointed. You can grab your copy of Create Your Life devotional and workbook on Amazon or visit realgirltalkpodcast.com. Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. This is Sherry with Real Girl Talk, and I have today the one and only Tiffany Jenkins, the funny lady behind Juggling the Jenkins. She has over 4.5 million Facebook followers. Woo! Tiffany is a wife, a mother, a best-selling author, content creator, and recovering addict. And we're going to talk about that. Although best known for her funny, viral Facebook and YouTube videos, Tiffany is incredibly passionate about bringing awareness to mental health. Welcome to the show, Tiffany.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So Tiffany and I were supposed to record a few weeks ago and we have audio difficulties. So I am so grateful that you came back. Thank you so much, because it just sucks when that happens. It really does. But I know that you do speak out, and shamelessly you speak out about your addiction, but you make it so funny, Tiffany. Like I think the video that I watched where you had different shirts on and it talked about anger and all of these different things that we all go through as women in our head, but we don't talk about those things, because if we talk about those things, we seem to think it makes us less than, right? Inferior to the other woman, when in fact we all go through it. So I love the fact that you make it funny, because it's reality funny.
Thank you.
Right.
Yes.
So let's talk about that. We have so much to chat about, but tell me the story behind Juggling the Jenkins.
It's pretty much what you said. I was a new mom, and I was looking on the internet for inspiration and insight and help, really, because I felt like I was drowning. I wanted to see what other people were doing, and everybody just looked so good, like perfect and well put together. And it made me feel like I was failing. And it made me feel so bad. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to make my own videos and write my own stories about, my truth. And I was amazed at the feedback that I got. The more honest and raw I was, the more people came to me and thanked me. And so I was like, wait a minute. So I can share my truth and people will accept me. And so for the first time in my life, I was accepted for who I was, and it was really freeing. And I feel so blessed to be able to do this.
I mean, it's really cool, because I know obviously you're reaching millions of people. And I think whenever we can do that as people, especially as women, and help other women and other people, because I know that you're helping both men and women, because you're just funny. You're funny, and people need to laugh right now. I mean, we're going through so much in our world, and we're not even going to get into politics, because I'm sick of it and I don't even want to talk about it anymore. But it's something that we do have to address. And I watched a video of you where you were addressing it on Facebook, but you weren't really talking about a side. And I like that about you, because you have morals and you have values that are yours. And we are going to support whoever shares our same values, right? I mean, you're a recovering addict. My brother has been a recovering addict he actually went cold turkey about a year and a half ago after 40 years of drug addiction, and meth was his drug of choice. So you can imagine kicking that habit and what that's like. Although he struggles with mental health issues, which when he struggles, we all struggle, right? Mm-hmm. So he continually struggles with that, and it breaks my heart. But I like the fact that you choose your values and you choose your morals, and you're not going to be around people that don't add value to your life. You're not going to be around people that bring in the negativity and bring bad back into your lifestyle and the new lifestyle that you've created. And of course, and it speaks truth with politics. We're not going to elect someone that doesn't speak our values, and we're not going to be a part of someone, even in the workplace, that doesn't speak our values. So I appreciate that about you. I really do. So I want to talk a
Thanks.
little bit about how you come up with some of this creative content that you do, because I don't even know where it comes from. I need to have a little insight on how you come up with this stuff.
My brain is interesting to say the least. I always want to have some kind of hidden message behind the videos that I make.
Yeah.
Um, and so the videos come to me anytime, random times, generally when I'm like laying awake at night, just trying to figure out what I'm supposed to be doing with my life. And I'll text the ideas to myself when I have them. And so whenever I am able to, the next day I'll wake up and write a script if there's more than one character. But I do like to bring awareness to important subjects, but I have to use humor, A, because it's all I know, but B, because I have found that people tend to listen more when
Yeah.
they're laughing.
Yeah.
Instead of me lecturing you about why it's not okay to be an internet bully, I'll make a whole skit of people being internet bullies. And then at the end, it's kind of like a slap in the face, like, wait, I do that same thing. This is
Right.
about me. And I'm referring to one video in particular, and it's like um, Facebook commenters in real life. And so basically, there's a teacher trying to talk about bullying at school and how it's gotten out of control. And the parents in the room are all fighting with each other about politics and things like that and talking over each other. And the teacher just says, like, it's no wonder that the kids are bullying each other because look at
Right.
you.
Exactly.
And I could sit there and try to tell that message, but having it play out in front of you is different. And so lately I've been in a little bit of a funk though. I haven't really felt creative or funny, and I've been having trouble coming up with stuff that hasn't already been done. Because after a while you kind of run out of ideas and everybody else is making videos now because they're all home. And so it's like, what is my next move? So
Yeah, but nobody can top yours.
oh
I mean, nobody
thanks.
can top yours. And look, I think we all get in that. We all get in a little bit of a funk because being a writer myself, my first book that came out, Wake Up Call, a Mother's Grief Journey, that was, I don't want to say that it was simple for me because it was inspired from my 17-year-old passing away in a car accident. But
Oof.
I could write that story, right? So I can write that story and it is what it is. But then to be able to turn around and write a book, Strong Women, that talks about being empowered through adversity was a little more difficult for me because I don't always want to feel like, let me rephrase that. I don't always feel empowered. I always want to be, but I don't always feel empowered. And, I listened to something yesterday that talked about excellence. And when you're in a funk, if you'll pursue excellence, excellence will pursue you. And I was like, what does that mean? What does that mean? So I listened a little bit more and I grabbed her book and I started reading her book and it made perfect sense. And so when you wake up in the morning, are you one of those people that make your bed before you go to work? And I was thinking, well, I used to be, and it said, well, why don't you do that anymore? And, I just started thinking about it and God was talking to me. He says, why don't you get up and make your bed? The bed, when it's made, makes you feel better. And I was like, that's not a big deal. But I'm going to tell you, Tiffany, just over the last week, because I was in a funk myself, over the last week, I've gotten up every morning and made my bed because I'm at home working right now. So I have to see if my environment is messy and it's clutter filled, I feel disorganized inside. And
Same.
that attacks my mental health. I suffer from anxiety, I suffer from depression, but I have controlled my depression and I have to work on my anxiety. And
Mm.
this all came from the death of Bryant 13 years ago. And so I think we all have a little bit of mental health issues as women. We go through a lot. Let's think about it: divorce, we grieve divorce, we grieve loss through death, friendships, and then self-identity. So, when I saw that, pursue excellence, and excellence can be making your bed before you go to work, just little things, or making sure that you eat healthy just at lunch. Maybe you
Yeah.
eat like crap the rest of the day, but if you'll commit to an excellent lunch, the little mindset changes. And so
Yeah.
I don't know if that'll help, but it's helped me over the last week. I will
Well,
tell you
good.
that.
I'm
Yeah.
glad.
So I wish I could show you how good my bed looks.
I do the same thing. And I heard that about making your bed. It's first thing in the morning. It's one way to do something that can be productive, and I totally get that.
Right.
I can relate to what you said about clutter causing the anxiety. I feel the same way. If it's messy in my house, it's messy in my brain. But something that I've been struggling with is like, I feel like I have so much to do and I don't know where to start. And so my house is super cluttered, but I feel guilty dedicating time to cleaning it because it's an all day job. And I should be doing this other thing. I should be writing my book. I should be working on my podcast. I should be creating content and writing scripts. I should be doing laundry. And so it's a time management thing for me
Right.
that I've been struggling with lately. And I have a 4, 5, and 9-year-old. So cleaning the house is like brushing your teeth while eating Oreos. It's just pointless. You never get anywhere. So, so what I'm doing actually today, directly after this interview, I am going to a hotel down the road for 2 nights.
Nice.
Because I have to write my book. And when I'm home in the clutter around my kids who I adore, who also adore me and never want to leave my side ever. Um, and my bed is right there, and my depression's like, just lay down, girl, deal with your stuff later. So I was like,
Yep.
I gotta leave. So I'm bringing my laptop, and I'm going to dedicate the time to writing the book so that I can hopefully feel accomplished.
You know what? You will feel accomplished, because one thing about what you just said was, if you are in a situation where you're feeling like you're in a rut, like you're saying, and you know your limitations, like I know there are days that I can talk about Bryant all day long. We could talk about him right now. I'm good. But I know there are going to be days, even 13 years after losing my treasure, I'm going to know that I can't talk about him. And I'm self-disciplined enough to know that. And what you just said showed me self-discipline, because you're disciplined enough to know, hey, I can't do this right here, but I know what I can do. And
Yeah.
you're going to go down the street for 2 days. And you just gave me like the most amazing idea, because that is something I think that a lot of women, we think, oh, vacation and pack up the kids and go. That's not a vacation for us. That is a huge chore for us. A vacation, a mental vacation, could be a couple of miles down the road, a staycation in a hotel. And
Yeah.
I think that's great. I think you ought to do a skit about that.
This is not the first time that I've done this, and I've made videos about it. I think that, one of the common things is not everybody obviously can afford to just go get a hotel.
Right.
And I totally get it. And
Right.
technically I probably can't either. But for me, it is just as important as going to a therapist or a doctor, or, working
Absolutely.
on my brain. And so anytime anybody asks, my birthday's in a week, what do you want for your birthday? I want to stay in a hotel by myself for 2 days. Okay, done. So that's what I'm doing.
That is awesome. Oh my gosh. You know what? You could make your own little cupcakes and bring them.
Exactly.
You know what? And you can take advantage of that, set up your little iPod and do a little photo shoot. You could actually do a skit in the hotel. There's so many cool things that can come out of that.
Well, that's the whole point of me actually going, is just to write.
Just to
because
write.
I put it off every single day. And so the skits, they're going to have to wait. The YouTube, the Instagram, everything else, it's just going to have to wait while I just slowly get myself in a headspace to go back in time to when I first got in recovery and first started having kids, so that I can actually write this, because there's so much distraction everywhere that this will be a nice little reprieve.
Yeah, keep that television off so you can
Yep.
write. And there's no doubt that when you get into that headspace, because you're disciplined enough just by going, it's just going to flow out of you. It's going to flow out of you. So just the maid knocking on the door at 7 to make your bed's going to tick you off, because you put your do not disturb sign out there, so you can just,
I always do.
Yeah, keep those juices flowing. So let's talk a little bit about the addiction. And how long were you in that addiction phase before you sought out any kind of recovery, and how, and where did that come from?
The addiction progressed. So there was like different stages. There was the beginning where I was just ignorant and it was fun and escape. And then eventually it got to the point where I was doing things that I never thought I would do. I was using drugs intravenously and robbing people and pawning things. And so once I graduated, if you will, to using drugs in a way that left scars on my body, it didn't take long before stuff hit the fan.
Right.
So it was about 10 years from beginning to end of my drug use, of consistent drug use. And things got really bad in 2012, where I was in a relationship with a deputy and I was hiding the truth about who I was from him and all of our friends and my coworker. Every single person in my life had no clue who I really was. And then eventually the crimes that I had been committing in the dark caught up with me, and I was arrested from our home and taken to jail and broken up with, obviously. And I had to start over. And I had a choice,
Right.
when I was in jail and leaving jail, of what I wanted to do and what I should do. And my dad came to visit me, told me he'd gotten clean and that, he would be there for me. And so when I got out of jail, I made the decision to go right to rehab in 2012. And I spent 6 months in a live-in treatment center.
Nice. And was that the only treatment, that 6 months? Is that what did it for you?
Yeah, so I was in jail for 120 days and then went directly to a 6-month residential treatment program. And then when I left the treatment program, I went directly to a halfway house,
Okay.
because I knew that I still needed accountability to have freedom. Because in the rehab, you can't, you're at everybody's, what's the word? Not beck and call,
Command.
but basically yeah, you're being told what to do, when to do it in
Right.
rehab. And in a halfway house, you get to come and go as you please. You just have to go to a meeting every day and do your chores. And so I ended up going there because I knew it was what I needed. It wasn't necessarily what I wanted, but I knew it was right and I knew it was necessary. And eventually things really escalated in my life from
Right.
the halfway house.
So after you get out of the halfway house, and I've dealt with drug addiction. I want to say I've dealt with it personally, but not me being the drug user, but it being in our family since I was young. My sister and I were having to go to family counselings because of my teenage brother,
Yeah.
being addicted to drugs and in and out of prison. Basically since he was 14 years old and he's in his 50s. And so that's been a long road for all of us. And he was in and out of rehabs. And
Yeah.
I don't know what it was, Tiffany, about my dad passing away. I have no idea, just by the grace of God, because if you knew my brother and you knew his lifestyle over the last 40 years, he would be easily give up on. It would be easy to say,
Yeah.
no way is he ever going to put that down. And
Yeah.
I always believe in miracles. And I know that the only thing that could save him was Jesus, because nothing we did, I mean, rehabs, prison, I'm talking big time prison, where it wasn't just jail. It was, he's gone to a huge prison, maximum security prison for 3 and 4 years at a time, and never over anything violent. It was always related to drugs.
Yeah.
And it's sad. It's scary for my parents. It's scary for him, and for him to put that down after my dad passed away. And now the residual is my brother has liver cancer. And so, that's a residual of the alcohol and the cirrhosis, and now liver cancer. And, I pray for him every day, because he's had a rough life brought upon in his actions, but I still don't believe that anybody should give up. So if anybody's listening, has a family member or somebody you love and adore, and it's been 10 years, 20 years, or in my case, 40 years,
Yeah.
don't give up, because there's always hope. And sometimes you have to step away and just pray for those people, because when you get so deep in it, you find yourself in that mental space where they are, and it can really bring you to a depression and a sadness, just like the person that's actually going through it. And I know your family went through the same thing, but here you are, a huge spokesperson for mental health and drug addiction and recovery and what you've been through. So, sometimes I think that I truly believe that a lot of our pains end up being our purpose and the reason why that we are even here.
Yeah.
And obviously, you have found yours. You have a mom, you're a wife, you're sought after for your knowledge and your humor. And how wonderful that you can use that. I mean, it just, I've read a little bit about you. And so I knew that you're a person of excellence and you're a person of discipline. And whatever you write, whatever flows out of you is going to help so many people. And I know that'll keep you going, just in that headspace to think about, it's not about us, right? It's the message, not the messenger. And
Right.
so I know that it's going to flow out of you. So tell us a little bit about what you're writing about. So what can we expect from your 2 days at the hotel?
I think that, first of all, thanks for all the nice stuff that you said. I don't know if excellence or discipline would describe me at all. I'm mediocre, really. And that,
Oh,
like, honestly, I'm not trying to be like humble or unassuming. I genuinely have no clue what the F I'm doing in life. And I am always like trying to learn. And I think the biggest thing is just being self aware and admitting when I don't know something and
yeah.
admitting I need help is the biggest thing for me. And maybe why people kind of hang out with me, because they're like, okay, there's a lot of manufactured stuff out there now, and a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
of false prophets and people, you know, using social media to take advantage of people. And it
Hallelujah. I
and
see it everywhere.
yeah, it's super frustrating for me, because I'm like, dude, I can see right through this person. You can't see it. But
Mhm.
um yeah, the second book, the reason that I've been stressing, I think, so much is because I'm so worried. The first book was like shocking and raw and graphic and horrifying. um And once where the book left off, like after that, things started becoming like beautiful and wonderful, and the blessings of recovery started rolling in. And so I'm nervous that people are going to expect this book to be like that book and then be like, well, this is nowhere near prison fights and drugs. So I'm trying to figure out how to go about writing it. And what exactly I want it to be about. But I think I just want to share with people, you know, things that I've learned since getting clean, and what happens after you make that leap to recovery, what it might look like.
I think it'll be great. I think it's
Yeah.
going to be great. I don't know if I just see it or feel it, but I feel led to tell you it's going to be great. Whatever flows out of
Oh.
you is going to be good. And I want you to know that you're not mediocre. You're not. And a lot of times, we all feel like that, Tiffany. I mean, sometimes I wake up and I go, why am I doing this podcast? Oh, yeah, because 10,000 people download it every week. Oh, those people, because it's more important. It's those people that I want to reach and I want to talk to. It's not about me. That's why I have guests. If it was about me, I would just talk every week. No one wants to
Mhm.
hear me.
Mhm.
No one
I
wants to
do.
hear me talk every week, although I do insert some messages because I am an adverse recovery strategist, I guess you would say. People have called me an expert in it. I don't know if I'm an expert, but I know what it's like to bury your 17-year-old son. I know what it's like to be bankrupt. I know what it's like to be divorced. I know what it's like to suffer with a brother of drug addiction. I know what it's like to lose your dad. I mean, I know what it's like to go through some serious adversity and challenges. Does that make me an expert? I don't think so, but I know what I'm talking about because I'm sitting here today and I have a smile on my face and I know who takes care of me. And so, I guess it makes me an expert. I mean, if I feel like I can teach someone how to get through some of the BS that I have been through, and really hard knocks is what I like to call it, because I've been knocked down more than just a few times. And to be able to stand back up, yeah, I can tell you what I did, but I'd rather people come on and talk about all the different things and that they've learned that I haven't experienced, because I learned from so many people.
Yeah.
I feel blessed to be able to meet people like you and all the other wonderful women that I've had, on my show, CEOs and celebrities and all those people that look paintedly beautiful
Right.
on social media.
Yeah.
It's good to know their hearts and not just their faces and what they post. So we appreciate you. We really
Oh.
do. We appreciate you, and I appreciate your humor. And don't stop those videos, girl, because I'm telling you
You might
what,
have to give me some ideas.
I'm telling you, like, well, you could do that. The idea about going and staying in a hotel if you're just the average mom. that
Oh
needs
yeah,
a
that's
break.
true. Getting
You
away
can-
from
yeah.
those responsibilities and just wearing a robe and eating
Yes. Yes. And
food.
just look, room service. You can
Yeah,
just like-
it's funny.
it's funny that you say that because my daughter, she has two step kids, and then I have my little Roxanne, which is her daughter. She's 4, and I try to take her with me when I travel a little bit. And so we were blessed to be invited to Washington D.C. Monique Samuels is on the Housewives of Potomac. I don't know if you watch the Housewives or not, but she's a sweet friend of mine, and she invited us to come to her podcast, like big event. And so I asked Christina, I was like, babe, you want to come with mom and we'll go? Well, she's a librarian, was a school teacher for 7 years. And she was just like, a vacation to a hotel, I'm in.
Aww.
And we had a blast. And, we went to this event, but I think her and I had more fun at the hotel.
That's so
and
sweet.
just walking around DC than the event itself. Of course, the whole weekend was great, but she even went to like an educational event there in New Orleans because I'm here in South Louisiana, and she was like, "Mom, it's 50 miles away, but I'm going to be in a hotel all week." She was just so excited.
Being a step parent is hard.
It is hard. It's hard.
So kudos to her.
Yeah. Yes. I have a stepdaughter, and of course, my husband calls my daughter and my son that passed away his children because he was in their life, 9 and 11 years old.
Wow.
And, now my daughter's 30 plus. And so,
Yeah.
it's his daughter, and he doesn't think about it any other way. But look, it had its challenges when they were younger.
Oh yeah.
The whole rolling of the eyeballs. I mean, what do you do as a step parent when you get the eye rolling? You
Right.
keep backhand smack them.
That was what I struggled with in the beginning, was like, where is the line? You're here at my house, I'm watching you, but am I allowed to discipline you? Am I allowed to help guide you? Like, where is it?
Right.
We've gotten into a great groove. My stepdaughter came into my life when she was 3, and now she's going to be 10. And so she's just another kid of mine. But there was definitely a learning period there for a little while.
Oh, that's cool. You know what? My daughter, it's really unique, Tiffany, that I actually had her on my podcast show, and her husband's ex-wife, Ashley, when they started off with Christina dating Trey, she wasn't as welcomed by Ashley being the ex-wife. But now, as the years have gone by, they're best friends.
Love that.
And people look at it and go, oh my gosh, that's weird. Is it weird? Because they're raising these 2 children, all 3 of them are raising these kids. Christina's the bonus mom, and she treats them just like she does Roxanne. And Ashley knows that. And they're best friends. They came on my show and talked about blended families. They go to church together. They go to events together. They go to yoga and Pilates together. They're seriously raising these kids together. So she will tell you, yes, discipline that child.
I love that.
And she created a Facebook group. You'll have to check it out. It's called Living Learning Lifestyles. And she has a lot of mom stuff on that Facebook group. So it's really cool, but she talks about blended families and how to manage your kids and step kids and all that comes along with that. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it's all about taking what we have and making it something great and then sharing it, with other people. So yeah, I mean, I know the challenges of being a step parent as well as you do, but do you do humor when you discipline them? Do you do humor then too? It's not
depends.
so funny.
It depends. I don't really need to discipline my stepdaughter, to be honest with you. She was a gift in my life. She is truly an angel. She is so well behaved and funny and loving. Like, very rarely do I have to be like, hey, quit hitting your brother. You know what I mean? For the most part, it's the 2 little ones who are out of control. She's great.
So how do you control them during quarantine? What have you done that you can share with some of these moms?
I was going to.
What can you share that won't bring child services to your home?
Exactly. No. I've found that the times that I get most aggravated with the kids is when I'm trying to do something on my phone and they're trying to get my attention. And
Oh,
that is not their problem. That is my problem. Like whatever I'm doing on my phone is not more important than my kids, period. And I recognize that. And so I'll catch myself like, what am I doing? I'm trying to distract myself from the real world by mindlessly scrolling on my phone. That's it. And when somebody's like, mommy, look at this, mommy, 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 can I have a snack? Can I do this? I get frustrated because I just want one solid minute of looking at something. And then I catch myself and I'm like, what am I doing? They're going to be grown up and slamming doors and ignoring me one day. I have to put this flippin' leash down and pay attention to my kids. And when we're in the moment and I'm there with them with no distractions, it's fine. And so that's what I've been trying to do more is like less about me, satisfying my own needs constantly
mm-hmm.
and spending more time and attention with them. And I grew up kind of being starved for attention. And maybe that's why I'm such a whack job now, but I don't ever want my kids to feel that. And so I always make sure that, if I'm doing a live stream and they come in, I will just ignore everybody here and just talk directly to them because I never want them to feel like this box, this object is more important than them.
Right.
It hasn't been easy. But again, they're 4 and 5 and they don't know anything about anything. And it's my job to teach them. And I don't know anything about anything. So we're all kind of learning together.
That's right. You know what? That's a cute skit because unless you have done it already, but just the mindless scrolling of the mom to ignore the children and then realizing that that's what she's doing, because I think that's what we do when we get lost in reality TV. It's the
Yeah.
same thing. I mean, social media scrolling is like watching reality TV because it takes you out of your own reality, right? Whether it's the
Yeah.
phone, Facebook, or whether it's, whatever you're watching. I don't know. Don't be tardy for the party. I haven't seen that in years, but I heard,
What?
I heard it's coming back on. What is the name of it? Don't be tardy for the party. It's with, oh, everybody's listening. It's probably hollering her last name, but she married that football player and they had this reality show and I hadn't seen it in years. And then I saw a little glimpse of a commercial that they're coming back on and the whole reality show is going to be them traveling in an RV. Like,
Oh,
yeah, I'm not sure why I need to invest my time in watching you live your life in an RV,
right.
but we do that.
Yeah.
We do that to escape
I,
what's going on.
if this was not my job to be a content creator and things like that, I promise I would not have a phone. I'm not joking. Like I despise it so much. And I don't despise what I do, but I despise the idea that you are now a slave to your phone. If somebody texts you, they expect a text back. If somebody calls you, they expect you to answer. And if you don't, then you're left having to explain yourself. Why didn't you answer my text? Facebook just told me that you were active. You had time to post that update, but you couldn't text me back.
Ugh,
I invited you to this thing. Why haven't you responded? And it's like, because I'm a human person with a life. Like, I just want to get a house phone. And like, if I'm home, I'll answer. If I'm not home, sorry, I'll check the caller ID and call you back. But I have to have a phone.
right.
Um, and so I do.
We all do. Yeah, we all do. I mean, we say we have to have the phone, but if you think about it, I'm going to age myself. I can remember in high school after the Friday night football game, McDonald's was our hangout and they had a
Mhm.
payphone. We didn't have I didn't have a phone. I think my dad had like one of those bag car phones when I was in 10th grade and he let
Yeah.
me borrow his car. And so I had the phone in the car and I was, yeah, the coolest chick at school for like that day. But before that, we in ninth grade we would go to the McDonald's and if you wanted to call somebody you call home you had to go use the payphone.
Yeah.
What was cool about it though is your parents couldn't track you like we can today.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. And there was
You-
mystery. It was like, what
right.
is your crush doing? I have no clue. Now you can find out what he's doing, where his exact location is, who he's with, what he had for breakfast.
I know.
And it's just crazy. It's crazy.
And
And
and it can
so,
add to, if you think about it, it can really add into that depression. If you're depressed about your ex and he's on your Facebook, it's
mhm,
harder to block that account because you have to be mentally disciplined, like going to the hotel for 2 days to write. You have to be mentally disciplined to block that boyfriend or that ex-husband or soon to be ex-husband so you
yeah.
don't see what they're doing. Because what we would tend to do is continually be a little troll and look at what they're doing, because we want to see, who are they with? What are they doing? Can I use it against them in the upcoming divorce? I mean, whatever it is, you're more tend to do that than being just self-disciplined and saying, you know what, out of sight, out of mind, I'm depressed, so I have to get away. I don't even want to see this person's name. Therefore, I'm going to block them and delete them. And that way I don't even have to look and see what they're doing. To me, I think that would be easier to get over someone to not know what the heck's going on than to actually see them daily with a smile on their face on Facebook, having a great time when you're crying yourself into a bowl of tears every night.
Yeah. It's a very weird world we live in.
Well, Tiffany, I appreciate you so much. I'm gonna let you go today, because I know you've got things to do, and you've got that 4 and 5-year-old, and we just gave you some ideas for creating some content.
Yes, thank you so much.
And happy birthday to you. And we're looking forward to what you're going to write next. But I want you to tell everyone that has not had the privilege of watching some of your funny videos where they can find you on social media and your website.
Yeah, thank you. I'm mainly on Facebook. That's where my home is. I also have an Instagram and a YouTube. It's all under Juggling the Jenkins. And my website is jugglingthejenkins.com. I have a weekly parenting podcast I do with my friend Meredith. It's called Take It or Leave It. And that's it.
So any idea on when we can expect your writings? Sometime next year, I assume?
Probably next year, yeah.
Yeah.
If there is a next year. Who knows what's happening?
We're going to have it. We're going to have that. We need to stop. We are going to have that.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, your book will come out early spring. Let's manifest that.
Yes. I like that.
I'm excited for you, Tiffany. I know it's going to be great. I know.
Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you. I appreciate it. And guys, make sure you go check out Tiffany Jenkins, Juggling the Jenkins on social media, and make sure you check out her podcast. And until next week, step out of your comfort zone. Try something you've never tried before. And remember, pursue excellence, and excellence will pursue you. Until next week, I'll be praying for you.
The loss of a loved one is a nearly universal emotional crisis. Unprocessed grief and painful feelings can be buried, leaving you to feel numb. But there is hope. Certified grief counselor, RN, and author Sherry Ricard shares her story of how to cope in her first book, Wake Up Call, A Mother's Grief Journey, after the loss of her 17-year-old son. This book, along with Sherry's other books, are available on Amazon as well as on sherryricard.com.